Today, CD Projekt Red becomes its own evil cyberpunk megacorporation, but actually not really. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where I'm on my own this week, so finally, I can say all the things that Kathleen wouldn't approve of. Like, butts? No, that's like her favorite word. This is harder than I thought, but I'll think of something. Twitch.tv has a spam bot problem. Their AutoMod chat moderation tool actually does a pretty good job, so it's not a problem with spam bots in general, but rather one specific bot, which since February 24th has been spamming some channels with anywhere from 34 to 700 messages a minute, and all of them racist, homophobic, or solicitations for underage sex. In its research, Twitch has determined that the entire swarm of spam stems from a single site, chatsurge.net, which offers spam bot attacks for sale, and is apparently run by the sole person responsible for the spam bot. Twitch has now petitioned the government of British Columbia, where we live, for help in identifying the perpetrator, because they've tracked the offending IP address to the Shaw Communications Service in Coquitlam, a suburb of Vancouver, so like 3 hours from here. We have a lot of different feelings about this story. It's kind of funny that this asshole is Canadian, and we'd definitely like to see him get shut down, but we're also honestly not sure if Twitch has legal recourse to demand our provincial government hand over someone's personal information just for contravening their terms of service. More importantly, though, this whole story is basically an excuse to tell you that this spammer's email address is obnoxious@dongcorp.com. Hopefully once he gets shut down, that URL will become available. The new Hearthstone expansion, Journey to Un'Goro, came out April 6th, and as part of the lead up to it, Blizzard ran a promotion where anyone who logged in on April 5th got a card from the upcoming set, the Volcanosaur. Perhaps the noble Volcanosaur, a 7-mana 5/6 that adapts twice when it's played, won't be a big deal in the future, but on April 5th, it's all anybody was talking about. Not only was April 6th the launch of the new set, but it was also the day that Hearthstone's standard format rotates, meaning that for one day, the 3 rotating expansions, Blackrock Mountain, the Grand Tournament, and League of Explorers, were tournament legal the same time as Volcanosaur. So a rapid shift in the Hearthstone metagame took shape, with everyone scrambling to make the most broken Volcanosaur decks they could before the dino's presumed extinction at the hands of the evolving standard metagame. Unfortunately, it seems Volcanosaur's adaptations do not include actually being that good. The recent 1.05 patch to Mass Effect Andromeda has some welcome quality of life changes for the game, such as increased inventory limits, improved multiplayer matchmaking, and better eyes. One of the big visual complaints upon the game's release was characters looking tired or spaced out during dialogue sections, and BioWare has handily solved this problem by giving Andromeda's humans actual human eyes, as opposed to the vacuous mannequin orbs that used to occupy their face holes. Pixar has been saying this for years, it's all in the eyes. The patch notes also included, quote, fixed an issue with Ryder's movements when running in a zigzag pattern, so no more Ryder's got a shit. Disexplications.tumblr.com recently took a stab at creating fictional video games, generating not only the game's title, but also the year of release, publisher, and platform via a neural network. While some titles, like Resident Evil 3D Void Edition, sound like they could be real games, despite that one apparently being released in 1984 for the Amstrad CPC, and other names sounding like nicknames for games that do exist, like Final Fantasy Drive-In, some of them make a little less sense. Here are a few of our favorites, and to save time, please add the phrase, "I would definitely play that game" after each title. Circus Vampire's Soul Brain Machine. Barrow Legend, Tom Clancy's Ghost Heaven. The Wibble Championship. Pocket Madden Encounter. SpongeBob Street Revolution. Deep Golf. King of Death 2, The Search of the Dog Space. Black Mario. Jort the Shortching. Macross Army Defenders Ballhouse 2 League Alien. And myself, Broken Man Simulation. Witcher developer CD Projekt Red has filed a trademark for the term cyberpunk as it relates to video games, and a bunch of people got very concerned. In case you were unaware, since it was announced like 4 years ago, CD Projekt Red is working on a game called Cyberpunk 2077, an adaptation of pen and paper RPG Cyberpunk 2020. I guess since 2020 is in 3 years, they decided to move it back a bit. The company positions this as a defensive move with no intent to use their trademark offensively. Probably the most important point is that they are not trademarking the concept of cyberpunk, the setting, or the genre, but using cyberpunk as a name of video games. So this means that another company wouldn't be able to release Cyberpunk 2078 or Cyberpunk 2, The Quest for More Neon. But Mohawks and Machine Guns, a cyberpunk dating sim, would be totally fine and something that ought to be made. It's also worth noting that this trademark already existed, owned by R. Talsorian Games, the developers of the Cyberpunk pen and paper RPG, and it's just transferring to CD Projekt Red. Also, this is just in the US. In Europe, the trademark for everything that isn't games is owned by Sony Music for some reason. This is not especially relevant news. Okay, I've had some time to think about it. Here we go. Something that Kathleen wouldn't let me say. Persona 5 is only media... I can't just sit here and lie to you. It's actually super sweet. Coming up, this summer EVE Online players will be able to earn in-game currency and help with real scientific research by scouring the massive amount of data sent by the Kepler Space Telescope for minute variations in luminosity that could indicate the presence of an exoplanet. It's kind of like The Last Starfighter, but more tuned for the sort of things EVE Online players are good at. I want to play all of those.
Yeah, pretty much.
Deep golf.